Paul continues his discussion regarding the law and the promises of God. And we read this in Galatians chapter 3, verse 21 through 22. He wrote, "Is the law then against the promises of God? God forbid. For if there had been a law given which could have given life, verily righteousness should have been by the law. But the Scripture hath concluded all under sin, that the promise by faith of Jesus Christ might be given to them that believe." As moral humans, we often experience internal conflict. Moreover, we often say things that conflict with other things that we have said, even in the same conversation. I remember that my dad liked to debate issues. He would do this with me about things ranging from moral choices to politics. I think that there were many, he may have had a strategy in this, which was to somehow sharpen my skills of thinking and my ability to communicate on issues. It was interesting that on many of these debates with my dad, we would argue our points for some length of time, sometimes a half hour or so. And I would take my view and present it, and then he would take his, and we'd go back and forth. And then somewhere in the debate, he would say something that was in total contradiction, that conflicted with his original premise and seemed to agree with mine. And I would say something like this: "Dad, that's exactly what I've been saying." It seemed that the arguments that he gave for his view conflicted with each other. One of the questions that arise when discussing the law and the promise is this: is the law then against the promises of God? In other words, has God given us one thing that conflicts with another? Does the law conflict with the promise? Paul gave the answer to this question in the verse with an emphatic statement when he said, "God forbid." The English Standard Version translated it, "Certainly not." Paul then explained his point. The law and the promise had two different purposes. Yet these purposes were complementary in God's redemptive program. He indicated that the law could not give life. This is because the law did not produce righteousness. So how and what did the law do? Paul indicated that it bound all people under the penalty of sin. The law actually exposed the inability of people to meet God's holy standard. It revealed the plight of all humanity, that all fell short of the glory of God and that all have sinned. The law was a light that exposed sin so that the people would see their problem and their need. This in turn would drive people, was designed to drive people to faith in Jesus, and thus they become heirs to the promise. So the law and the promise did not conflict. They are complementary. The law being a force that would prompt people to embrace the promise by faith in Jesus Christ alone. And Jesus was the only one who lived on this earth in perfect obedience to the law. Thus it is by faith in him that we are declared by God to be righteous. Today, many preachers avoid any mention of sin. Their fear is that this will drive people off. I know of some preachers who have said that they will never preach on bad things. They believe that their calling is to preach only happy things that will make people feel good. Yet until people are exposed to the problem of their own failures to justify themselves before God, they will never be driven to faith in Jesus and experience the blessing of the promise. They will never experience true joy. So let us bring the message of true joy to a people walking in darkness. Let us be a light that exposes the problem of sin, and then be able to present the blessings of the promise that comes by faith so that they can enjoy what we enjoy as believers. Redemption from our problem of sin and the justification that we have before God, which comes by faith in Jesus Christ alone.